ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वंदे गुरुपरंपरां। सद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। जिज्ञासाधिकरणम् अथातो ब्रह्म जिज्ञासा जन्माद्यधिकरणम् जन्माद्यस्य यतः शास्त्रयोनित्वाधिकरणम् शास्त्रयोनित्वात् समन्वयाधिकरणम् तत्तु समन्वयात्। चैप्टर 1 4th पादा आनुमानिक अधिकरणम् आनुमानिकम् अपि एकेषामिति चेत् न शरीर रूपक विन्यस्त गृहीतेः दर्शयति च। We have been seeing the first sutra of the 4th pada of first chapter, the 107th Brahma Sutra. So in the last class, we were comparing the Sankhya's and Vedanta Darshanas and said Vedanta talks about the Chetana Karanavada, whereas the Sankhya's, they take to Achetana Karanavada, for which he wants to give Vedic support. So wherever there are words supporting him, he will quote them comfortably also. And one such support he takes is from Kathopanishad, mantras 1.3.10 and 1.3.11. First chapter, third section, 10th and 11th mantras. Indriyebhyaha parahyarta arthebhyascha param manaha manasastu para buddhihi buddheratma mahan paraha. And mahata param avyaktam avyaktat purusha paraha purushannam param kinchitsem sa kashta sa paragatihi. These two mantras we read in the last class also. And these are the two mantras where Purusha is revealed by applying the Sakachandra Nyaya or Arundhati Darshana Nyaya. And we will see the meaning of the mantras briefly. The Upanishad starts with Indriya. Superior to the sense organs, the Indriyas, are the sense objects. And from one angle, superior to sense organs are sense objects because they influence the sense organs by creating desires. Therefore, sense objects are more powerful than sense organs. And superior to sense objects is mind. And I also mentioned about this Artha Bhaga, the Brahmanam of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, mantra 3.2.1 also we mentioned it in the last class, where it was mentioned that superior to sense objects is the mind. And superior to mind is the intellect, buddhi, because mind is controlled by the buddhi. And superior to intellect is the total intellect, called the Mahat Tattvam, the Samashti buddhi, the total buddhi. Earlier, the under intellect is Veshti buddhi, individual buddhi. This is total buddhi, Mahat. And this portion only is relevant to us. And superior to Mahat is Avyaktam, the causal matter, Prakriti. And superior to Prakriti is Purusha. And beyond Purusha, there is nothing. That is the end. That is the highest goal. Mahat, Prakriti, Purusha is the order. And here, the portion that we want to focus is Mahat, Avyaktam, Purushaha. And three words are common both to Vedanta and Sankhya Darshanas. So whether Veda talks about or Vedanta philosophy or Sankhya philosophy, the confusion might arise. There is a question. And we will refute Sankhya philosophy. There is a tug of war between Vedantins and Sankhya here. And we will concentrate on the word Avyaktam, occurring in the Kathopanishad mantra that we just read. So according to Sankhya philosophy, Avyaktam means Karana Prapancha, the causal universe. In Veda also, the word Avyaktam refers to Karana Prapancha, the causal universe. And we are going to say that the word Avyakta is Karana Prapancha only. In Sankhya and Vedanta, Karana Prapancha means the world in potential form, in unmanifest form, in causal form, in dormant form. But meaning of Prapancha in Sankhya and Vedanta, they are different conceptually. Even though the words are same, but conceptually there is a difference. In Sankhya, Karana Prapancha means Avyaktam is real and is an independent entity. Whereas in Vedanta, the causal universe, Karana Prapancha, is both dependent and unreal also. It is Paratantram, Mithyacha. It is Mithya also, Paratantram also, it is not independent. In Sankhya, it is Satyam and it is also independent. So this is the general difference. This is like the general introduction for this sutra. Now let us go to the general analysis of this Adhikarana. First part of is the Purva Paksha of this Adhikaranam, and the second part of the Adhikaranam is the Siddhanta part, Vedanta part. And the Purva Pakshi says the Veda uses the word Avyakta in the meaning of Karana Prapancha, causal universe, which is exactly same as Sankhya philosophy. So that means Veda supports Sankhya. But Siddhanti says that his claim, Purva Pakshi's claim, the Sankhya's claim is not correct. The real answer is Avyakta means Karana Prapancha, and according to us, it is Mithya and unreal. According to Vedantins, this Karana Prapancha is Mithya and unreal. The real answer is given actually in the third sutra of this Adhikarana. We are going to see later. So in the first two sutras, first sutra and second sutra, he gives a mischievous answer. So in Kathopanishad, Avyakta, as described in the mantra that we just read, 1.3.11, Karana Prapancha only it refers to. And Vyasacharya establishes Avyakta as Thula Shariram and not Karana Prapancha. Even though it was said there as Karana Prapancha, Vyasacharya, he establishes Avyaktam to refer to the gross body, physical body. Actually, we say it mischievous because in 1.3.11, the Kathopanishad mantra that we just read, Avyakta refers to Karana Prapancha only. So, it is just for teasing the Sankhya's, he says, Vedavyasa says, Avyakta means Stula Shariram, only the physical body. And he gives a temporary answer with some difficulty though. How can Avyakta refer to physical body? Avyakta means invisible and not perceptible to sense organs. Here, Avyakta means Stula Shariram. If you say, we know Stula Shariram is perceptible. Therefore, how do you say that Avyakta would mean Stula Shariram, physical body? Then we go to the primary meaning and all. Its primary meaning is unmanifest. Avyakta means primary meaning is unmanifest. And by implication, Avyakta now is taken to be Stula Shariram by implication, even though primary meaning is it is unmanifest. So we have to take the implied meaning only here instead of the primary meaning. And the whole section supports our interpretation. That is where we have to see how we are going to bring the arguments. Now the next question is, how does this section support this meaning that we have to analyze? And before revealing the Purusha, that is the step-by-step observation, the whole thing talks about spiritual journey. And Kathopanishad talks about a chariot imagery. In the chariot imagery, 6 factors were introduced. Vishayaha is the sense objects that are comparable to the roads of the journey. And the physical body is compared to the chariot. Atmanam Ratinam Vidhi, that sloka we already read, which travels. And sense organs are compared to the horses that drag the chariot. And the fourth factor is Manaha, the mind that reins the control, the horses. The reins that control the horse is the mind. And the intellect is compared to the driver that holds the rein. And the Jivatma is the traveler who sits behind in the chariot. These are the 6 factors. Now Vyasacharya says, in this spiritual journey also, the Upanishad talks about 6 things. What are those 6 things? Artha, Indriyam, Manaha, Buddhi, Avyakta, and Purushaha. So here also there are 6 factors, and in the chariot imagery also there are 6 factors. So in both the concepts, there are sense objects, Indriyams, mind, Buddhi, and Purusha. And in both, in the chariot imagery, the Rathi, the charioteer, and here the Purusha, So all of them tally very well. So there are avyaktam in both. That is standing out in the spiritual journey. Now here Shariram, the physical body, is there, and in the Sankhya's avyaktam is there. So now if you equate, avyaktam is equal to Shariram. This is the only argument we can take to prove that avyaktam is the body, physical body. But it will raise another question as to how the avyaktam can refer to physical body. For those questions, Vyasacharya answers in the next sutra only. Here it is said that avyaktam means shariram, the physical body. Otherwise, the imagery and teaching will not tally. So this is the general analysis of this first sutra. Now let us go to the word analysis. Now what is the sutra? Anumanikam api keshamiti chet na sharira rupaka vinyasta grihitehe darshayati cha. So Anumanikam api, the Sankhya Pradhanam, if the Prakriti of Sankhya is called Pradhanam, so the Sankhya Pradhanam also is revealed in the mantras actually. Kesham means belonging to certain branches of the Vedas. Iti ched, if this is argued in this way, no, it is not so. Sharira Rupaka Vinyasta Grihitehe, the physical body, Sharira Rupaka, physical body or Shariram, introduced by the Avyaktam in Kathopanishad 1.3.11 is, that's a supplied idea. This is the running meaning of this sutra, but we will see it in detail. Anumanikam, first word. That means the Pradhanam of Sankhya philosophy. And why he uses the word Anumana here? He uses the word Anumana because in Sankhya philosophy, Pradhanam or Karana Prapancha is known through inference only in Sankhya. So it is called Anumanikam. And in Vedanta, Avyaktam or Prakriti is known through Shastra Pramanam, not by Anumanam, by Shastra Pramanam. So both of them talk about Karana Prapancha. Ours refers to Shastra Pramanam and his Sankhya's refers to inferred entity. So Anumanikam, that is Sankhya Pramana. And this was discussed also in the sutra, actually in 1.3.18, which we already saw. Itara paramarshat sa iti chet na asambhavad. In that sutra, we discussed this already. And the same word Anumanam is used also to mean Pradhanam in another sutra of the third pada, first chapter, third sutra, 1.3.3. Na Anumanam ata Shabdat. These sutras we have already seen. So both mean the Sankhya Pradhanam api. Api means here also, and not only your Brahman is revealed, but also my Pradhanam also, api is revealed. That is the argument. Not only your Brahman is revealed, my Pradhanam, my Prakriti is also revealed. And the next word is Kesham Shakayam. Shakayam we have to supply. Kesham Shakayam means in certain branches of Vedas. Actually in Sanskrit, Eka is a singular number. But in plural, it becomes certain. The same thing will become certain. When certain idea, certain particular thing, certain person. So when he says in some branches, means in some branches refers to the Kathopanishad mantras, iti chet. If it is said like that, na, it is not so. Then comes the next word, Sharira Rupasya Vinyasta Grihitehe. Shariram here means the physical body. Rupakam means simile, analogy. And Ratha Rupakam, the chariot imagery. Vinyasta means is presented. And Grihitehe means is mentioned. So the Rupaka Vinyastam introduced in the chariot imagery, actually it's adjective to Shariram, the physical body, which is introduced the chariot imagery. So this is how the words communicate our idea. Darshayati. Darshayati means Veda itself clarifies that through the chariot imagery, that Avyaktam and Shariram, they tally. This is what this sutra says. Now let's go to the next sutra. Because Adhikaranam has all these sutras, so we have to go through that. And next sutra is Sukshmam tu tat arhatvat. Sukshmam tu tat arhatvat. This is the second sutra, fourth section, first chapter, 108th running Brahma Sutra. Here an objection to the first sutra that is refuted here. First, let us see the general analysis of the sutra. So the previous sutra has complicated the case. Hence we have the second sutra. Because we said avyakta refers to stula sharira. And Vyasacharya says the word avyakta is body, physical body, karana shariram in potential form. So the body is in unmanifest form is the literal meaning. Avyakta means the body in unmanifest form. The karana shariram is the literal meaning. But by implication, it refers to stula sharira, because sharira dvayasya karana matram is causal body, according to Tattva. So karana shariram, the in dormant form physical body is there in karana shariram. So he implies it is stula shariram, physical body only. And karana shariram alone later becomes stula sharira. So primary meaning is causal body, and by implication, it is the gross body, causal body, physical body. And cause can imply effect, that we always know. And further different examples are also given. And in the Shastras, the word sattvam, that is used in the meaning of the mind. For example, in the Bhagavad Gita 16th chapter, abhayam sattva samshuddhihi jnana yoga vyavastitihi danam damascha yajnascha swadhyayastapa arjavam. So fearlessness, abhayam, purity of mind, sattva samshuddhihi, wise by appointment, jnana yoga of knowledge, and concentration, dhanam, self-control, mind control, study of the scriptures, yajnascha, swadhyayam, austerity, all those things, it mentions about all that. And here, how can sattvam refer to the mind here? Sattva samshuddhihi. It is convention in sutra, in the shastras, that a word in the meaning of a cause is used in the meaning of the effect also. A word in the meaning of the cause is used in the meaning of the effect also. So he says avyaktam has the meaning of karana shariram, and it can be used in the meaning of stula shariram also. Therefore, karana shariram is avyaktam, and by implication, it is stula shariram, physical body only. This is the meaning given in the sutra and not in Kathopanishad. We should be careful. This is the meaning given by Vyasacharya and the sutra, and I told you it's also mischievous. And one more problem is also there. And we accept avyaktam as stula shariram Vedantis, because Vyasacharya has given the sutra. So in the graded hierarchy, how can stula shariram be subtler than indriyam, manas and buddhi and all that? Yes, stula physical body cannot be subtler than all these. For that we answer, karana shariram and stula shariram are same only ultimately. And by implication, it is turned to karana shariram. Thus, avyaktam is stula shariram only. Even though stula shariram is gross, but its potent form, its dormant form is karana shariram. So by implication, we can take it as physical body, stula shariram itself. This is the meaning of the sutra. Now let us go to the word analysis. Sukshma. Sukshma means the body in the causal state is primarily meant by the word avyaktam here. So however, avyaktam refers to body in causal state only. And tad arhatvat, it is appropriate meaning of the word avyaktam. But what is the thing here? The body in causal state is primarily meant for avyaktam. The physical body only is implied. So the word sukshma means it is not sukshma shariram, the body in causal state, the karana shariram. So avyakta shariram is directly talked about here. So tat arhatvat. Tat means the avyakta, and avyakta shabdaha here, and arhaha means the appropriate meaning. And the karana shariram, it preserves the word avyakta. And the karana shariram is the primary meaning of the word avyaktam also here. And the implied meaning only is stula shariram. And we are stula shariram is revealed by implication only. So with this, the second sutra is also over. And let us go to the next sutra. That is the third sutra of the fourth section. Tat adhinatvat arthavat. Tat adhinatvat arthavat. So the Mahat and Avyakta of the Kathopanishad, they do not refer to the Sankhya Tattvas. That is our argument. The Mahat and Avyakta, as mentioned in the Kathopanishad mantra that we read, they do not refer to the Sankhya Tattvas. And this is the argument in support of the first sutra of this Adhikaranam. And we analyze the word Avyakta occurring in Kathopanishad mantra. And here, the Purva Pakshi is a Sankhya philosopher. And he claims Avyakta refers to Pradhanam Prakriti of Sankhya philosophy only, which is Jagat Karanam or Karana Prapancha. And we establish Avyakta is not Sankhya Pradhanam Jagat Karanam. And we gave in the first two sutras a peculiar meaning as Stula Sharira. As I told, it's a peculiar meaning, and admitted that Avyakta means Karana Prapancha or Karana Avastha contextually. And this is the gist of the first two sutras. Now the Sankhyas, they continue their argument. They are not willing to give up. They accept that the word Avyakta in the 11th mantra, 3rd section of Kathopanishad, 1st chapter, is Stula Shariram only, by implication. Okay, that Vedantins agree that Avyakta means Karanavastha only. Okay. It is Karanavastha means what? The entire universe, Jagat Karana. So scriptures, they support Sankhya philosophy is their argument. Therefore, it should refer to Pradhanam only. So he will come back to Pradhanam only everywhere. Prakriti. So even if in this context, Avyakta would mean Stula Shariram, the physical body, there are so many places where Avyakta means Karana Prapancha only, causal universe. Lot of examples are given. For example, in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in the 1st chapter, 4th section, 7th mantra, the Upanishad uses the word Avyakritam. All these words should be familiar to us because in Brihadaranyaka we use this word very liberally. Many places. Avyakritam, Karana Prapancha refers to Taddedam Tarhim Avyakritam Asite Tan Nama Rupabhyam Evam Vyakriyataso Namayam Idagum Rupa Iti. And in the Bhagavad Gita also, in the Akshara Brahma Yoga 8th chapter, Lord Krishna says, Avyakta Advyaktaya Sarvaha Prabhavantyaga Ragame Ratriyagame Praliyante Tatraiva Vyakta Sanyake. So in Sankhya, Avyakta refers to Karana Prapancha. And Shruti and Smriti also support. We quoted a mantra from Shruti, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Veda, and also from Smriti, namely Bhagavad Gita. So for this, the answer is given in this sutra. It brings out one of the main differences between Sankhya and Vedanta. In fact, because of this primary difference alone, Vedanta is called Advaitam and Sankhya is called Dvaitam. This primary difference is shown in this sutra, interesting sutra. Now, we do accept the word Avyaktam refers to Karana Prapancha, causal universe. In Kathopanishad 1.3.1, 1st chapter, 3rd section, 11th mantra, Avyakta means Stula Shariram and it is only meant as a Samanyartha. It is basic matter or basic energy, and we do accept in Sankhya philosophy also. Karana Prapancha is basic matter and we use common words in both. Sankhya also uses the word Avyakritam, Pradhanam and Avyaktam, Mula Prakriti. They are all used in to mean Karana Prapancha. And they say Prakriti is Jagat Karanam. Prakriti or Pradhanam is Jagat Karanam. We also say Prakriti is Jagat Karanam. Then what is the dissimilarity between us? When we say Prakriti or Maya is Jagat Karanam, it is the secondary version. Our primary teaching is Brahman is Jagat Karanam. The Karanam of the universe is Brahman. But when we say Prakriti or Maya is Jagat Karanam, it is only a secondary version. This Chetana Karana Vada, we are coming back to that only. The Chetana Karana Vada of the Vedantin is the primary teaching of the Upanishad. We give two reasons to support our argument that Chaitanyam alone is Jagat Karana. Chaitanya Brahman. And the first argument is Brahman is that from which all are born, in which all of them, by which all of them sustain, and into which all are resolved. We know many number of quotations from Taittiriya Upanishad Bhriguvalli. Yato va imani bhuta nijayante, ye najata nijivanti, yat prayantya visambishanti, tad vijignasasva, tad brahmeti. So Brahman is defined as Jagat Karanam, and that is the foundation of Brahma Sutram itself. The Vyasacharya presents Chetana Karanavada only as Vedanta's primary teaching. And in support of this argument, he quotes Taittiriya Upanishad, this first chapter, in the second section, the first Anuvaka. Tasmadva etasmad atmana akashas sambhutaha akashad vayuhu vayoragnihi agnerapah adbhya prithvi prithivya voshadayaha voshadibhyonnam annat purushaha. From that which is this Atman, Akasha is born. From Akasha, air is born. From air, fire. From fire, water. From water, earth. And from earth, all the herbs. From herbs, food. And from food, humans, living beings were born. This also reveals Atma is Chetana Jagat Karana. Only if Brahman is accepted as Karanam, Eka Vijnanena, Sarva Vijnanam of Mundaka Upanishad is possible. Karana Vijnanena, Samasta, Karya Vijnana Prapanchaha Bhavati. So if Prakriti is accepted as Karanam, and Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnanam will come, and Brahman need not be known at all. One has to own it up. This itself is going to be analyzed later. Because of this reason also, Brahman has to be accepted as the ultimate cause. In Sankhya, Achetana Prakriti is Jagat Karanam, and in Vedanta, Chetana Brahma is Jagat Karanam. This is the fundamental difference. And the second point is, when we accept Brahman as the Jagat Karanam, the first advantage is Shruti support is there. Vedas support it. Eka Vijnanena, Sarva Vijnanena. That principle is accepted. But at the same time, by knowing one, you know everything. By knowing the Karanam, all effects are known. I'm not translating all of them because we have used this many times. By knowing the cause, all effects are known. All karyas are known. But there is a problem. What is the problem? Shruti says Brahman is Karya Karana Vilakshanam. To be a Karanam, it is beyond cause and effect. That's what Shruti says about Brahman. So to be a Karanam, it has to undergo a change. But Brahman is not subject to any modification. We have seen it so many places. How can Brahma Karanavada is possible when Brahman is not subject to any change or modification? Further, we point out Brahman has got what is known as the Shakti. Brahman alone is Jagat Karanam, and Kevalam Brahman cannot be Jagat Karanam. But Kevalam means only Brahman. Brahman alone cannot be Jagat Karanam. Brahman requires Shakti to be Jagat Karanam. And that Shakti is called Maya or Avidya in Vedanta. So the difference between Sankhya and Vedanta is Prakriti is the cause of the universe according to Sankhya and according to Vedanta also. Prakriti is not the cause of the world, but Prakriti is the Shakti of Brahman with which it becomes the Jagat Karanam according to Vedantians. And the second difference is Prakriti is independent entity in Sankhya. But in Vedanta, Prakriti is a Shakti depending on Brahman. The Shaktiman is Brahman. This is the second point to be noted. So Prakriti is a dependent principle with Brahman being independent, except Brahman is a Sakshi, a witness by which it is Jagat Karana. By being a witness, it is Jagat Karana. Shakti is resting with Brahman, and Shakti also must be eternal as Brahman. Then the question will be what? How do you talk about Advaitam here? There are two eternals. There is only Dvaitam. Brahman and Brahma Shakti are Maya. This is another. So even if you say Shakti is part of Brahman, then Brahman will have parts and will be subject to what? Swagata Bedaha. We have seen all that. We have talked about the three types of Vedas differences. Sajatiya Beda, Vijatiya Beda, Swagata Bedas. Internal differences is Swagata Beda. Brahman will have Swagata Beda if it has parts. Also, according to Vedanta, Brahman is substance, is substantial, the substance of everything. And Brahman has Shakti. Then how can we talk about a Nirgunam Brahman? If you say Brahman has Shakti, Anantaha we do accept. How do you then talk about Nirgunam Brahman? Shakti continues even during Pralaya. It is eternally present with Brahman. So even though both are real, one is eternally real. Which is eternally real? Brahman is eternally real, and the other, namely Maya, is eternally unreal. One is Paramarthikam and another is Vyavaharikam. Jnanam knows eternal Brahman and eternal Maya. Jnani will accept the eternal Brahman and eternal Maya, but he will not count Maya as real. Because of Maya, I have everything. Experientially, I count Maya, but will not count it really. It should not be counted along with Brahman is the realization of Brahman. Even after losing its countability, Maya does not lose its experienceability. For example, the sunrise, it has lost its reality, but it has not lost its experienceability. We experience sunrise every day, even though it's not real. Maya or Prakriti is Mithya for Vedanta. And for Sankhya, Prakriti is Swatantram, independent. This is the general analysis and the important difference between Sankhyas and Vedanta. Now we will go to the word analysis. This sutra is what? Tat adhinatvat arthavat. Being dependent on Brahman, Avyaktam is not independent pradhanam of Sankhya. That is the meaning of the sutra. Arthavat. Arthavat means it is purposeful also. Arthavat, it is purposeful. Avyaktam is purposeful. That is, dependent Avyaktam is purposeful also. Tat adhinatvat. Tadadhinatvat is a compound word, two words, tad plus adhinatvat. Tad means tad refers to Brahman here. And adhinatvam refers to dhinatvam. It's dependent. Tadadhinatvat means because of Brahman dependence. That means what? Vedantin's Avyaktam has got Brahman dependence. But Sankhya's Avyaktam is independent. And hence our Avyaktam is different from Sankhya's Avyaktam. And the words are similar. And the concepts are dissimilar. Arthavat means it is purposeful. That is, Avyaktam is purposeful. Maya is purposeful. And Shankaracharya explains, Avyakta is purposeful in what way? He explains that also. In Sankhya philosophy, Avyakta is taken as Jagat Karana. In Vedanta, Avyakta is purposeful in making Brahma the Jagat Karana. In Sankhya philosophy, Avyakta is Jagat Karana by itself. Whereas in Vedanta, Avyakta is purposeful in making Brahman the Jagat Karana. Avyakta is only an assistant of Brahman, we can say. It is like the, Swamiji gives an example, it is like the wife of the olden days. All the glory goes to the husband only, but she does all the work and all the rent, he is the one who is going through. So Avyakta is purposeful, not for creating, but for assisting. And Brahma Karanatva Siddhyartham Avyaktam Arthavat Bhavati. And it does not have independent existence, that we mentioned already. So our Avyaktam does not have Swatantara Satta, unlike the Pradhanam of Sankhya. For Sankhya's Pradhanam Prakriti is Swatantra. For us it is not. Let us go to the next sutra, fourth sutra. Nyeyatvam avachanacha. Nyeyatvam avachanacha. Fourth sutra. This is the 110th running sutra, Brahma Sutra. So the argument in support of the first sutra of this Adhikara is continued here. So let us do the general analysis first. Again, there is a beautiful argument here also. Vyasacharya says, in Sankhya philosophy, Purusha and Avyaktam both are important and both have independent existence. Avyaktam in Sankhya means Prakriti. And both have independent existence, and so they believe in Dvaita. All are Dvaitam except Vedantins. In fact, Visishtadvaitam also is Dvaitam only. So to attain moksha, one should know both Purusha and Prakriti distinctly. And now we know them in a general manner. And the Sankhya philosophy gives Dvaita Vastu Jnana, that is Purusha and Prakriti. Both of them, it gives the knowledge of both. One should know clearly both Purusha and Prakriti, and also the difference one should know clearly. And in Sankhya, both Purusha and Prakriti should be known. In Vedanta, Purusha alone should be known. We only say Brahma Vijnanena Moksha. By knowing Brahman, one gets moksha. We don't say Maya Vijnanena Moksha. Kevala Brahma Vijnanena eva moksha. Therefore, Sankhya and Vedanta, they differ. Their Avyaktam is Nyayam. And in Vedanta, Avyaktam should be dismissed and we should change to Purusha. Mahataha Param Avyaktam, Avyaktat Purusha Paraha. That is what the Kathopanishad mantra we read. So as even you go to higher stages, previous stages should be negated. Avyaktam is not an end, but it is only a means to reach Brahman in Vedanta. Avyaktam also should be known though. Therefore, Avyaktam is equally important. For that we say, if both are equally important, the next mantra will not be there at all. There is no need for the next mantra. What is that? In the next mantra, the Upanishad says what? Purushanna param kinchit sa kashta sa paragatihi. 11th mantra, 3rd section of the first chapter of Kathopanishad. We read this mantra. Purushat na param kinchit sa kashta sa paragatihi. Talked about in various stages. In 1.3.10, that mantra, and 1.3.11 of Kathopanishad, it talks about Mahat, Avyaktam, and Purusha. And finally, it says, you should know Brahman. Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu gutotmana prakashate drishyate tvagriya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibihi. Even though all the beings are talked about, Yeshaha, that Brahman alone should be known finally. Yeshaha Purushaha drishyate. And we have to sharpen your mind, tvagriya buddhya sukshmaya. That is how we can know. This is the second difference between the Avyaktam of Sankhya philosophy and the Vedanta Avyaktam. Now we will go to the word analysis. Nyeyatva avachanacha, that is the sutra. Here cha, avachanacha, that cha means moreover, in addition. And Nyeyatva avachanat means since Avyaktam is not mentioned, avachanat, not mentioned, as something to be known, Nyayatva. So Avyaktam is not Pradhanam of Sankhya. Sankhya is not Sankhya's Pradhanam in this sutra. And then this is the word meaning of the sutra. First, let us do the Nyayatva Vachanat. It's a compound word. Nyayatva means the knowability of a thing to be known. For what? For moksha, for liberation. In Sankhya, Prakriti is to be known. And in Vedanta, Brahman is to be known for liberation. Avachanat means not mentioned. So if we literally translate, what happens? Because of the non-mention of the knowability of Avyaktam, Avyaktam is not Pradhanam. Because it is not mentioned, Avyaktam is not Pradhanam. Cha means conjunction, because this sutra gives another reason in addition to the previous sutra. Avyaktam is not Brahman. And Sankhya claimed Avyaktam is unmanifest form of universe. That which is not revealed by sense organs is called Avyaktam. Whatever is not revealed by sense organs is what is aprathyaksham. It is not pratyaksham. And it can be known by anumanam only, by inference only. This world must have been in potential form before manifestation. Sankhya also says the same thing when they say about Avyaktam. Avyaktam is common both to the Sankhyas and Vedantins. Sankhya says their philosophy has Veda Pramanam also. No doubt, Avyaktam reveals unmanifest matter and the universe. Up to this part, we don't have any disagreement with Sankhya's. Only with regard to the status of Avyaktam, we have a problem. For them, the basic matter is Swatantram, independent. Basic causal matter, namely the Prakriti Pradhanam, is independent. And it has independent existence, which means the consciousness has a separate reality. And that means there are two parallel realities. One is matter and the other one is spirit. Purusha, we can call it spirit. Purusha and Prakriti. Sankhya is exactly in the middle between science and philosophy. The consciousness depends on matter, and that is why they say consciousness is the phenomenon of the brain. In Vedanta, it is the other way around. Consciousness is independent, and matter depends upon consciousness. That's the difference between Vedanta and science. Sankhya says why one should depend upon other, and they say two independent realities good. Prakriti is independent matter, Purusha is independent consciousness. Why should have dependence on each other at all? So if you use Avyaktam, you refer to independent matter. And when Vedanta uses Avyaktam, we talk of dependent matter. Tad adhinatvat. So Chaitanya adhinam is matter. This is why your philosophy does not have Vedic support. And in Sankhya, the matter and spirit, they enjoy equal importance, as I told you earlier. Moksha requires the knowledge of both. One requires Prakriti Jnanam and also Purusha Jnanam in Sankhya. Nyayatvam is common to both. The necessity of the knowledge of both is required for both. In Vedanta, we say Brahmajnanatvat moksha. By knowing Brahman, one gains moksha. Maya is not a thing to be known, but a thing to be rejected as avidya. In Vedanta, Maya has to be rejected as avidya. We use Maya as a stepping stone to reach Brahman, and we should reject Maya after reaching Brahman. Mahat, and superior to that is Avyaktam, and superior to that Avyaktam is Brahman. And in the 12th mantra of Kathopanishad, what did it say? Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu gudotmana prakashate drishyate tvagriya buddhyam sukshmayam sukshmadarshibihi. This Atman, hidden in all beings, it reveals itself not to all, but it is seen only by the seers of the subtle intellect, sharp, subtle intellect, buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibihi. This Purusha Tattvam, this Chaitanya Tattvam is hidden in everyone. And this hidden Purusha, Chaitanya Tattvam, has to be known only by a subtle intellect. One should know the Purusha to gain moksha. That is what the Upanishad says. One should not stop with knowing Mahat and Purusha, and one should ultimately realize Purusha, which is nothing but Brahman. That is what the Vedantins say. So Veda does not talk about Avyaktam as a thing to be known. The Avyaktam is said, but it is meant here for Brahman only to be known. Let's go to the next sutra. Vadaditi chet na prajnohi prakaranat. Vadaditi chet na prajnohi prakaranat. 5th sutra. 1st chapter, 4th section, 5th sutra, 111th Brahma Sutra. So the Mahat and the Avyakta of the Kathopanishad, they do not refer to the Sankhya Tattvas. That's what we are establishing. An objection to Sutra 4, the previous Sutra, is raised and it is refuted here. First, we will do the general analysis. The Sankhya philosopher is not ready to give up. He will not give up. We said Avyaktam is not enough to be known for getting liberation. Just by knowing Avyaktam, you cannot get liberation. Avyakta is not presented to be known for liberation also. And the Sankhya philosopher says, who says so? He says, you don't know how to study Veda properly. He says, Avyaktam is an object of knowledge, and it also presents that knowledge, a liberating knowledge. We ask them where it is said. And he says, there are quotations. In Kathopanishad itself, first chapter, third section, 15th mantra, Ashabdam, Asparsham, Arupam, Avyayam, Thatarasam, Nityam, Gandhavatchat, Nityam, Gandhavacham, Agandhavachayate. Anadhyanantam, Mahataparam Dhruvam, Nichaya Tanmrityuhu, Mukhat, Pramuchyate. This is an often quoted mantra. We have quoted this earlier also. So this is a very important mantra also. And this is in the hands of whom? This important mantra is in the hands of the Sankyas. He says Avyaktam is Prakriti only. We say he talks about Purusha, Brahman. He says Avyaktam only, Prakriti. So every description tallies with Avyaktam, the unmanifest universe in this particular mantra, which we call Prakriti. It is Ashabdam, Asparsham, Avyayam. It is Nityam, because in Pralaya Kale, it is in unmanifest form. It is Anadi, Anantam. And the crucial word is Mahataparam. That is the word used in this mantra. That means it is beyond Mahat. Whereas the 11th mantra, that's 1.3.11, Kathopanishad says what? Mahataparam Avyaktam Avyaktat Purusha Paraha. And in the 15th mantra, third section, first chapter, Kathopanishad also talks about Prakriti or Pradhanam only. And not only Veda commands to know about Avyaktam, but also by knowing that one will transcend mortality and will get moksha. Mrityu mukhat muchyate, it says. Therefore, Sankhya philosophy is the correct interpretation. This is what Purvapakshi Sankhya says. Veda does talk about Avyaktam, the one should be known, and Vyasacharya gives the answer in the second part of this sutra. He says, 1.3.15 of Kathopanishad talks about Purusha alone and not Avyaktam, the Prakriti. It talks about Purusha, the conscious principle. And if you study the flow of the Upanishads, Upanishadic teaching, then you will come to know it talks about Purusha, Brahman only. In the 11th mantra of Kathopanishad, it talks about Mahat, Avyaktam and Brahman, that we already read. In the 12th mantra, it talks about Atma, Purusha, and not Avyaktam at all. So this Atma should mean Purusha only and not Avyaktam. Then the 13th mantra talks about Atma only, and how can one know it? By resolving everything. It talks about that also in the 13th mantra of Kathopanishad, third section. So each one is resolved into the next superior one in stages, and ultimately all of them will resolve into Atma or Brahman, the Purusha. And the 14th mantra says it is not easily understood. Atma Jnanam is like walking on a racer's edge. So all the mantras, three mantras in succession, they all talk about Atma Jnanam only, and the 15th mantra should also talk about only Atma Jnanam. How can it talk about Avyaktam when that is the evolution? Therefore, Asparsham, Avyayam and all those things refer to Atma alone and not Avyaktam. If it talks about Purusha, how does it use the expression Mahataparam? Superior to Mahat is Avyaktam and superior to Avyaktam is Brahman only. So Purusha can be said to be Mahataparam and superior to Mahataha is Brahman alone. Then two more arguments are also given. In all Vedic mantras, we talk of Brahmajnanat moksha only. By knowing Brahman only, one can gain moksha. And we don't find Prakriti Jnanat moksha anywhere. That is by knowing Prakriti, Maya, Pradhana. And Kathopanishad talks of Atma Jnanam alone as a means of moksha. And the third and the final argument is, let us assume that the Kathopanishad mantra 1.3.15 that we read, it talks about Prakriti or Pradhanam only. And the last line of the mantra, what does it say? Knowing that Prakriti, one gets moksha. If you think that is Prakriti is what it is talking about, then it says by knowing that one gets moksha. That will be the meaning of that mantra, 15th mantra, third section, first chapter. Even if that be the meaning of the mantra, even if you give that, It does not talk of Sankhya philosophy, because Sankhya philosophy never says Prakriti Jnanat Mokshaha. It does not talk about Sankhya philosophy at all. So this is the general analysis. Now let us go to the word analysis. Vadati. Vadati means the Shruti, Veda speaks. It talks of Avyakta, something to be known. Where? In Kathopanishad, first chapter, third section, 15th mantra. This is the quotation of the Sankhya philosopher. Iti chet. If it is argued in this manner, na. It is not. It is not so. Prajna hi purushaha. Is indeed, he means is indeed, spoken of Kathopanishad in 1.3.15. Prakaranat, because that is the topic there. So Vadati, it is said by the Sankhya philosopher. So Avyaktasya Nyayatvam Bhavati iti chete na. We have seen this meaning. So Prajna is used in the sutra in the meaning of Nirgunam Brahman only. Here Prajna means Chaitanya. Then he means the he is emphasis. So the previous and later portions always decide the topic. So the context is Atma Jnanam and not Prakriti Jnana. That is what is mentioned here. There. Let us go to the next sutra. Trayanam eva chaivam upanyasaham prashnascha. Trayanam eva chaivam upanyasaha prashnascha. Fourth sutra, fourth section, first chapter, 112th Brahma Sutra. So the objection raised in the Sutra 5, previous Sutra, is further refuted here. First, let us do the general analysis. This is more an elaboration of the previous Sutra only. The context, Veda Vyasa explains here. And this can be also interpreted in two ways. One is, actually, Swamiji has his own interpretation. This is a simpler one. When you study the context, then we find the entire Kathopanishad is the answer to the three questions asked by Nachiketas to Yamadharmaraja. What is the first one? He wanted the boon, father's peace of mind. Shanta Sankalpaha Sumana Yata Syat. So, so all these things he is asking in the first one. And the second, in the next 11th mantra, the answer is given. Yata Purastad Bhavita Pratitam Uddalaki Arunihim Mat Prasrishtaha. So he is telling the ritual. And the ritual for attaining heaven. The question was asked again in 13th mantra. Satvamagnim Swargamadhyeshim Mrityoho Prabruhi. So how to get Swargaloka? And the answer was given in the 15th mantra. Lokadi Magnim Tamuvacha Tasmai, in that mantra. That mantra talked about the answer for that. And for Atma Jnanam, which he asked, Nachiketas asked twice in the 20th mantra of the first section and the 14th mantra of the second section of the first chapter. Yeyam Prate Vichikitsa Manushye Astiti Nayam Astiti Chaike. So this in that mantra and the next mantra in the second section of the 14th chapter, 14th mantra second section, Anyatra Dharmat, Anyatra Dharmat, Anyatra Asmat Krita Kritatim, Anyatra Bhuta Chabhavyacham, Ettat Pashyati, Tadvada. That is what he asked to Yamadharmaraja. So the third question that is answered in the rest of the Upanishad, Kathopanishad. So this is the substance of Kathopanishad. We know the story. So what happens to Atma after death? That's the question. And Yamadharmaraja answers, what happens the ignorant one and to the wise one? What happens to an ignorant person and what happens to the wise person, he says. This was elaborately discussed. And the three questions deal with father's peace of mind, an Agni ritual to gain heaven, and thirdly to gain Atma Jnana. Nowhere Yamadharmaraja did answer anything about Pradhanam at all in his answers. There is no Pradhana Vishaya or question. Prakriti is not talked about as the Sankhya style. This is a simple approach which Swamiji gives. Now we will see what Vyasacharya gives. And Shankaracharya, how he does it in the Bhashya. When the Sutra talks about three questions, which deals with one, a ritual for reaching heaven, that is the Nachiketagni ritual. And the second one is the Jivatma, is question number 2. So question about the ritual. Second question is about Jivatma, and the third question is about Paramatma. So father's peace of mind is not taken into account at all by Vyasacharya or Shankaracharya. So the 20th mantra of first section, first chapter, that is the question about Jivatma, and the answer for that is given in the second chapter, second section, 7th mantra. Yoni manye prapadyante shariratwaya dehinaham sthanu manyona samyanti yata karma yata shrutam. Some souls, they enter the womb to have another body, punarapi jananam, punarapi, that cycle. Others go to the plants just according to their karma and according to their knowledge. And the question 2 was whether the Jivatma dies or not, what happens to that? That was the question. Further, the Upanishad answers that it takes rebirth. That's the answer. And the third question was about Paramatma, and most of the Kathopanishad is all about Paramatma only. Whether you take those three, Swamiji's 3 questions answers, or these 3, Vyasacharya, Shankaracharya, there is nothing talked about Pradhana. And Shankaracharya talks about the complication that he elaborates now. This is the general analysis of the sutra. Now we'll see the word analysis. Evam. Evam means similarly. Prashnaha means question. And Upanyasaha means the answers. And then Prayanam Eva. With respect to 3 topics only, they are found here. And Cha means there are 2 chakaras here. Therefore, Pradhanam is not mentioned here at all anywhere in the sutra. And Cha means what? Therefore. That therefore is also one meaning. Pradhanam is not mentioned and is to be, that has to be supplied. So Trayanam Eva. Trayana means 3 topics are talked about, only they are talked about. And what are the 3 topics? Swamiji took father's peace of mind, Jivatma, Paramatma. Shankaracharya takes Swarga ritual, Jivatma, Paramatma. That doesn't matter what they take. And Prashnaha means questions. And Upanyasaha means the answer. So Evam, by topic analysis, by studying the context, we come to know 3 questions and 3 answers are there. But Pradhanam or Prakriti is not mentioned anywhere. Now let us mention the complication here. The Purvapakshi asks, is Jivatma and Paramatma identical or separate according to you? And either way you are in trouble. If you say Jivatma and Paramatma are identical, then you cannot count as 3 questions. It will be only 2 questions. Therefore, you are in trouble. Then if you say Jivatma and Paramatma are separate, then I will ask you the question, and how many boons did Yamadharmaraja give? 3 boons were given. One is father's peace of mind, second is Swarga ritual, and third is either Jivatma or Paramatma. So if he says Jivatma, then how can Yamadharmaraja talk about Paramatma, which is not included in the boon? And if you say third boon is Jivatma, how did him talk about Paramatma and vice versa, which is not in the boon? So Purvapakshi argues, if you say he talked about Paramatma, which is not in the boon, then I will say that he included Pradhanam also, which is not in the boon. This is how he comes from. If you say Paramatma is not included in the boon in the answer, then I will say Pradhanam is also not included, but that's what it's meant. It's an interesting argument, which we'll see more in tomorrow's class. Yo Vedado Swara Prokto Vedante Cha Pratishthitaham Tasya Pragavyasyaya Parasamaheshwara Sri Krishna Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnama Shanti Shanti.